Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning. Travis, what's up, man? We don't get to see you very often on here these days with all your work schedule. Good morning, Paul. Good morning, Nick. Shez, how's it going? Good morning. Yeah, what a move. I'm a little bummed. I'm over it because I know we have plenty of opportunity, but you guys know the game plan that I put in Discord played out perfectly if I was awake at 5 o'clock in the morning. Or not 5 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning. But I wasn't. I was sleeping. Gotta get logged back into TradingView. I don't know what happened here. So yeah, here's the trading plan that I posted in Discord last night. And these green lines are just perfect. It broke back above 550, it reclaimed it, and then if you throw on my VWAP here, that blue line is VWAP. It just bounced perfectly right there. That was at 1 o'clock Central Time. I was sleeping, but that would have been the move. That's all right. Like I said, there's absolutely tons of opportunity in the market, so we'll find something. Nick, you've been trading in the evening. How is that working for you with the Asia session? Are you having good luck, or do you find that it's harder since there's less volatility? There have been a couple of nights recently that the volatility has been good. Like last night, it was actually moving pretty well, possibly because of the NVIDIA earnings release still kind of having an effect on the market when it opened back up at 6 o'clock Eastern. And then I find that Sunday night is usually decent. But other than that, for me, the Asia market just kind of sucks. I think I don't have the patience for it. It's so slow. Okay, you're doing decent with it. Taking base hits. Got an account out of drawdown. That's good. Yeah, I struggle with that too, Nick. I actually have started locking out my accounts. If you have the urge to trade in the evening, a couple things. You can either lock out your account or get yourself a practice account, like a paper trading account. That way, like if you kind of just feel boredom or, that pull to the market where you're like, I want to enter a trade, do it on a paper trading account. I do that sometimes. But looking back through my journals, I've realized that my win rate during the Asia session is not great unless there's actual movement, like if the ATR is decent. Yeah, the low volume I feel like it doesn't move like it's supposed to, in air quotes. I shouldn't say supposed to, but you know what I mean. Like it doesn't really follow my typical strategy of like a clean bounce off of a level or VWAP or whatever. It kind of just does whatever the heck it wants, in my opinion. So Nick, I think we were talking about the settings in Project X where you can like lock yourself out on certain things. You can also lock out your account until a certain time period. So when you hit like lockout at the end of the day, you can just by default go to lockout all day or lockout for the next 30 minutes or whatever. If you go to custom, you can lock yourself out until like 5 a.m. or whenever you want to allow yourself to possibly take a trade. So I do that to lock myself out of the Asia session. Sometimes I get annoyed with myself that I can't just like have decent self-control without putting those handcuffs on myself. I'm like, geez, am I a 5-year-old? I have to lock myself out of my account and I can't just have the discipline to like not trade. But until then, setting up some guardrails for myself is probably the smart thing to do. Going up or down on the open, place your bets. Well, so we're coming up to this London high. My bias is bullish. I'm looking for longs. My ultimate target if this thing stays bullish and breaks through yesterday's high, I have this area up here around between like 740 and 760. And we do have a point of control that hasn't been tested up here at roughly 770. So somewhere in this region, if we get bullish, is where I'm thinking we're headed. But hopefully we get a little bit of a pullback. A couple of areas of interest for a pullback for me is yesterday's point of control, and there's quite a bit of volume here at the 600 level, 23,600, and that's where the news candle actually got the pullback and bounced from there. So if we retrace that news candle, 23,600 would be a decent spot for a pullback. And then if we get a big dump at the open, which I'm not thinking is as likely, this 23,550 level is big support. I'm not counting on it dropping below there. If it does drop below this level and breaks below this low here at 23,540, then I'll probably change my tune and be looking for shorts. There's lots of room on the downside, but I don't see that happening. I don't usually try to place trades based on news, but we had Nvidia yesterday that actually beat earnings, which is weird that it had this negative reaction. So Nvidia beat earnings, and then the news that was released this morning was bullish. We got a bullish reaction off of that. So not sure exactly what will happen at the open, but I'm hoping that we get a pullback and then some sort of entry for longs. Travis, what are you thinking? If you were to place a bet, what would you say is going to happen in the open? I could see us possibly getting a little pump up to the London high or even previous day high at 23,686 and maybe a little liquidity grab pullback. But ultimately, I think we're going up. You think bearish on the open? And just bearish, like a little liquidity grab and then ultimately going up? Or do you think we're going to have a red day? Curious your thoughts there. We did come up almost to London high. Starting to get a little pullback here. Okay. Yeah, it sounds like your thought process is similar to mine in that, like, coming down to this area here. That would be nice. There's a couple of reasons for that too. It could even come down a little bit further to like 23,584 because we do have some previous support here, and that's actually where VWAP is sitting. So kind of in this general region, that'd be a good spot for a pullback to enter long. Good risk to reward there. That's also retracing this news candle would be right in that area. Would be a nice little setup. It is interesting though that it came almost all the way up to the London high and then pulled back. So I wouldn't be surprised if the open is like super wicky and random and it goes up and grabs London high and then comes down to 600. We'll find out though in a little less than a minute. Yeah, I figured what you meant. Previous day's point of control, right around that 600 level. That's what I'm thinking too. We'll see though. Could get crazy. You never know. Mad Moxie, how's it going? Good morning. All right, market's open. Starting off with a little move up, coming up to that London high. Let's see if we get a little rejection at previous day high or if this thing just keeps moving. Woo! It's going. It's going, gone. Oh man. There ain't no stopping this thing. So much for that pullback, huh? Let's see if it comes all the way up to my level right now. Within the first like 2 minutes. Is it gonna happen at the open? Holy cow. Yeah, we were way off. I think maybe I was just hoping for a pullback. Like, that would have been nice. I did kind of expect if it came up to these levels here that we would get a little bit of like a liquidity grab and then pull back, but no. The market had different plans, clearly. Jeez. All right, now I'm really annoyed that my trading plan, maybe I should just stay up 24 hours a day, you guys, seriously. If I had entered at 1 a.m., I would have been done. I'm just playing around, you guys. There'll be more opportunities, but dang. Now I gotta figure out plan B, right? Well. Oh my gosh, K. George. You're crazy. You took that long right off the open with, okay, 1 micro. That's not too crazy. Isn't that awesome though? that you can make that kind of money with one micro, $165 in literally 1 minute with one micro. That's so cool. I love that. No need to trade minis. You can make great money with a lot less risk trading micros. Alrighty, let's start marking off our New York anchored VWAP and see what kind of range we're getting here. Good morning, B Frosty, what's going on? I missed you yesterday. So this level right here is one of my higher time frame resistance areas. 770 is where that point of control is that I was talking to you about. I don't love the idea of shorting necessarily. Maybe a tiny little scalp, but that would definitely be going against the trend. Good morning, Maverick. 3 days in a row your alarm didn't work. Then an iPhone update. What the heck? That sucks. Hopefully it didn't make you miss something important like going to work or something. Yeah, K George, you're right. Like you can always wish in hindsight, but you could have also like hit your daily loss limit within 1 minute also if it went the wrong direction, right? All right, so 15-minute opening range low so far is pretty much right here at yesterday's value area high. Boom, look at that level. That's exactly where we're rejecting. Woo! Good stuff, good stuff. And then so far, this is our 15-minute high. Maybe it'll bring us back down to 23,600 and we'll get that pullback. Oh yeah, Maverick. Hey, that's actually great awareness of your emotions. Like, if you're feeling euphoric or maybe like a little adrenaline rush or like you got a lucky like break or whatever kind of emotions, if you're feeling like that, maybe overconfident, that's a good time to take your green and walk away. Come on, pullback, baby. Let's go. VWAP is now at 23,612. That point of control level I was kind of watching is 23,600. So this area right here. Come on, let's go. Pull back for a long. That's what I want. And then if things work out like I would imagine, or maybe like I'm hoping, if it pulls back and our 15-minute opening range is set at that point, then that would give us a good reason to maybe target the other end of the range and just bring it right back up to this high. That's all wishful thinking at this point, though. It might not even continue to pull back. That was a pretty bullish open. Was that all the excitement that we're gonna get for the day? We got a nice little 2-minute pump and now we're done. That's not cool. All right, chat. We had a couple people who popped in a long right at the open. Who else has taken a trade since then? I know some of you guys like to take those little 1-minute scalps. It's definitely not my style. Makes me get way too anxious and I like freak out when I, have to take a quick little 10-point move over a 30-second period. That's not my thing. But I like to hear when you guys get in on them. Well, I guess we can take off this London high because that really was not a significant level of liquidity grab. We still have about 4 minutes until the 15-minute opening range is set. So if we can come back to this level, I think one of my favorite trades is to take the 15-minute opening range fake out to the downside and then like take a trade in the opposite direction to the other end of the range. I think those are some of my favorite trades just because they're sneaky. Like, there's someone out there that would take the breakout to the downside and get totally faked out, and I get to I don't want to say laugh at them because sometimes that's me taking it in the wrong direction too, but market. So the reason I say that is this would kind of be a perfect setup for it. Because if this indeed is the 15-minute opening range low and we get a little bit of a wick down to that 600 level and then it shoots back up, that would be nice. Nice, Maverick. Gotta love it when your trade plan plays out within the first 2 minutes of the open. Or in this case, it was the first 30 seconds. My trade plan kind of happened, like I said earlier, at 1 a.m. where it bounced off of that 550 level. And then when we came into the new pullback to 600, never came there. So that's why I missed that initial pump, but that's okay. Staying patient. Nick said that your stream keeps refreshing. Is anyone else having issues with it? Is it something on my end or something with Nick's computer? It keeps refreshing. Why would it do that? Interesting. Let me see. Run a speed test on my internet and see if that's the issue. Were you guys seeing any issues with the refreshing yesterday too, or is it just today? I haven't changed my settings since like this weekend. My download and upload speed is good. It's not letting me change my video settings since I'm in the stream right now. Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. A couple other people are saying they're having that issue though. I'll have to play around with my settings. But like I said, my upload speed is good. It's like 20 megabytes right now. Or MPS, whatever the number is. Good on B Frosty's end. I don't know, guys. Sorry. ChatGTP is my best friend when it comes to that, so I'll have to do some research and figure it out. All right, so we are starting to get that pullback. We broke below the New York anchored VWAP. I know hindsight is always 20/20, but dang, that was a good level. Totally could have taken a short from there. It wasn't in my trading plan. I was leading towards longs today, so I'm proud of myself for sticking to my plan. But bummer. No, honestly, it just gives me confidence that like I'm starting to be able to find these levels a lot better. Gives me more confidence in my trading plan. All right, so the 15-minute range is set. So let's see if it comes back down to this opening range, which is right at VWAP. Opening range low. So watch for a reaction to opening range low or 600, either one of these, and I would be looking for a long. One of these two spots right there. Oh, Shez, you did take the short. That's your baby right there. I feel like you've gotten really good at like anticipating the top of either the IB high or the 15-minute high or low, vice versa, and taking a short like really close to the edge of the range. At least from what I've seen in the chat, you've been doing pretty well with that. Good stuff, good stuff. Yeah, I think it looks like we're headed down to the 15-minute low, the range low. There's just a lot of confluence for that level. VWAP is sitting right there. We have that big bullish candle that we could possibly be filling that fair value gap. So even if like 642, so somewhere between 629 and like 600 is where I'm looking to enter. Yeah, Maverick, I have gotten a lot better at that. Like avoiding the FOMO of just trying to take every trade. And instead of doing that, just waiting for my trade. And that's helped a lot with avoiding overtrading and getting tilted. So, yep, happy with that for sure. Here we go. Coming down to the bottom of the range, right at VWAP. Let's see if we get a bounce there or if it does indeed come down to this 600 level. G-Man! G-Man is back! Have you gotten caught back up on sleep yet, or are you all messed up still? All right, let's see if it holds this level. Taking an entry here at 627. Bouncing off of VWAP and that opening range low. Came almost all the way down to 600. Ah, come on. You got to bounce here. Come on, get back above VWAP. Nope. All right, it's coming lower. Yeah, K George, like I said, hindsight's 2020, right? I'm not afraid to re-enter. Could have just hit my stop loss in the wrong spot. Dang it. All right, I'm gonna try one more time. See if we can get back up to this range high. And possibly scale out before then. $625 is where I entered. We are below VWAP. That's not a great sign. All right. It's not bouncing like I would have hoped. Okay. Wrong on that idea. Let's see where this thing heads now. Could possibly come back down to that 550 level. Possibly. I don't love the idea of shorting right here. I know this is a 15-minute opening range break to the downside, and it's retesting the bottom of the range right now. But it's holding that 600 level. So I don't like the idea of taking a short here. Honestly, I'm still leaning towards long. But I've already tried that idea twice. So not going to do it again. Stuck in between these two levels. Stuck between that 15-minute range low and 600. Let's see how it reacts at 550 down here. It's a big area of support. If it breaks below there, then I think I'm done with longs for a little while. No, I'm out, Nick. Tried that long twice and got stopped out. Coming lower. After that initial 5-minute candle at the open, it's just been all red since then. So we have Asia low down here at 488. If we don't have a strong bounce at this 550 level, then that would be the next level I could see us coming down to. G-Man, you said your flight got in at 6:40 EST. Was that AM? Like this morning it got in at 6:40? That's pretty early. Wonder how much sleep you got last night on the plane. Days like today make you want to quit your job. You're seeing the market like a boss, and then tomorrow you'll blow up. Yeah, I feel ya on that. Like the roller coaster. I actually just recorded a video about that. Like some days I feel like I could just make thousands of dollars and win like every trade. And then there's some days where I'm like, what the heck? The market is not doing what I thought it was gonna do at all. G-Man, maybe this is a day where you don't trade. If you're feeling beat. Might be a good day not to trade. I know when I'm like super exhausted, I don't trade well. My patience is thin. I get tilted easily. Just emotions are hard to manage when I'm tired. Well, good to have you. Glad you stopped by. Man, you guys, it's holding that level, that 600 level. I still feel like my idea was right, just timing was wrong. Coming up to VWAP and that 15-minute range low. Let's see if it reclaims it. We shall see. Stuck at a key area right here. Stop loss would go somewhere below that level. I feel like we could totally target the other end of the range. What to do, what to do. Is 600 strong enough to hold? Yep. I think it is. Trying it one more time, you guys. This will be my last trade in this account if it doesn't work out. I sized down on this one. $627 is my entry. Come on. If it breaks above New York anchor VWAP, I could possibly add to the position. Rejecting VWAP for now. Mohammed, have a great weekend. Gotta break above VWAP. All right, I'm adding one more. So now my average entry is 636. Targeting half of my position at opening range high. And then I'm gonna hold some more to that 770 level that I was talking about earlier. And at this point, I'm going to trail my stop loss to at least break even. Because if it starts to come back down to the 15-minute range low, then I'm wrong and it's going down. Come on. I'm feeling super frustrated. I think that's why I feel so anxious about this trade. Like, I'm annoyed with all of this chop right here and me getting caught in it and not, I guess I could have been more patient is really what was going on. I felt good about this 23,600 level. It just came down and stopped me out twice. So it's kind of shaking my confidence a little bit. Like, I felt like that was a good level. I feel like longs are the play. But now that it's stuck below VWAP, it's making me second guess myself. That's why I trailed my stop loss to break even already. Because it definitely shook up my confidence a little bit. I think that's the best question I've ever gotten in my chat. Another mom that trades, does it affect your trading when your kids are a butt to you in the AM? Sometimes. I don't think so much because I do spend some time before I trade to like take a couple deep breaths and like calm myself down. But I think it's just related to the stress and the hurry of the morning. Like, especially now that school has gotten back into session and we're like rushing out the door and the kids never listen and someone forgot their backpack even though I reminded them to get their backpack twice and just like all that stuff. And I get home about 10 minutes before I log onto my computer to start trading. So I definitely have to like sit and calm myself down before I trade. I have noticed though, and I've gotten a lot better at it, but when I was new to trading, I would let trading affect how I showed up as a mom. Like if I had a red day, I was less patient and like snappy with my kids. So I've learned to like separate the two. But yeah, being a mom and trading it's hard. Still stuck at this anchored VWAP. Come on. I'm patient, you would have gotten out by now. Yeah, so I've noticed that's just my trading style. My trading style is to find that one good trade and hold it until something proves that I'm wrong or it hits my stop loss or something like that. But like I was waiting for that 600 level for a while, and my trade idea is for it to go all the way back to the range high, if not higher. So since a good trade, I'm gonna hold it. I don't want to have to get out and then find another trade. That would suck. So might as well take one good trade and just be patient and hold it. There's really nothing that has made me think that it's going back down and I need to get out. Like it's slowly breaking above this anchored VWAP. There's not a ton of resistance. Like once we pass previous day high, I think it'll easily go back up. So I think I would rather have it hit my stop loss than me exit here and then have it continue to my target. But that's just me. I know everyone's different. Some people get more upset if they do have it come down to their stop loss. So you just got to figure out what kind of trader you are. But for me, I would get more tilted if I got out here and then it ended up going to my target. Is this a trap or going higher? I think it's going higher. But I could be wrong. I'm not afraid to admit that. I definitely could be wrong. And that's why my stop loss is in profit, because if I'm wrong, I don't want to lose any more money. No, I'm in Central Time Zone. So I drop off the kids at 7:40, between 7:40 and 7:45, and then by the time I get back to the house, it's like 8:10, 8:15, right around 8:10 Central Time. So about 15 to 20 minutes before the market opens. All right, coming down to my stop loss. I think that stopped me out. Yep. Alrighty. So we do have 12 minutes until the initial balance is set. We could try taking some trades off of that. How much am I typically risking on a trade? I personally risk about $200 per trade. So I use this little risk to reward tool right here to calculate what my position sizing should be. Came back down to that 15-minute range high or low and VWAP, starting to get a little bounce again. but not a lot of continuation behind it. So yeah, Nick, I could see this being a trap. I just don't know if it's trapping the highs or the lows, the buyers or the sellers. But this chop is trying to trap somebody. This 5-minute candle right here at 9:05 Central, that had some good volume right off that 600 level. So it held. It's just not continuing up. Coming up in about 10 minutes, our initial balance is set, so I think I'll probably be patient and wait for those levels since we're kind of just chopping around in between these VWAPs right now with no clear direction. It's a large initial balance. What are we at right now? 170 points? Yeah, that's decent. Pretty good range. Well, it looks like it's going without me. Hit my stop loss, and now it's going. Oh man, that is frustrating. I think that's one of the biggest things with trading that I have not gotten used to yet is when my idea is right, but my management of the trade is wrong. So I've made 3 mistakes now where so far my idea is right, but I'm down $500 in my account because I made the mistake. Got in too early over here, didn't wait for that 600 level to hold, and then over here trailed my stop loss too soon. Who knows though, it still could reject at this New York anchored VWAP level. I'm not going to get in long now because I'd be chasing it. If it comes back down to this initial balance low and gives us another entry, then that would be a gift. I'm not counting on it happening though. I feel like it's going to break out from here. Maverick, you think it'll come back down to get some more liquidity for a better bounce? Yeah, that's definitely possible. Like, if it actually is going to continue back up into this 770 region, it could need to come down and grab some more liquidity. That's possible. It could also be trapping shorts right here. Trap a bunch of shorts and then just move up higher to these 680s. And it could be a stop loss hunt all the way back up to the range highs. That's possible too. Because in this chop and consolidation, you know, a lot of people are getting trapped. Pinching between these VWAPs though. Somebody's going to win as soon as it breaks one of those directions. If it comes back down to that initial balance low though, like I said, that would be a gift. That would be nice. And initial balance low is sitting right at like 573. That 5 level is right below it. So we could even have a failed auction where it comes down and like retests that 550 level and then closes back within the initial balance. Nice little failed auction setup. Let's see though. We'll find out which way we're headed. That used to be you getting chopped up all summer long. Yeah, one thing that's helped me a lot is using these VWAPs. So for one, being stuck in between, there's obviously no clear direction right in this range. But one thing that I look at is when the VWAPs are flat like this, that usually means that price isn't going anywhere and it's chopping around. And I know people use like EMAs and stuff like that. Either anything really. A lot of it's the same. If your moving average or whatever you watch is flat, that's usually a good sign that it's choppy and not a great time to trade. When your moving average is flat or crisscrossing, you call it a spaghetti market. Is that your term for choppy spaghetti? Yep. It's a mess. All right, chat, place your bets. Who do you think is going to win this little consolidation between VWAPs? The red team and the green team. Are we going up or are we going down? If I was to bet, I don't know. Maybe I'm still leaning towards the fact that we're going up. I would love to see it come back down to initial balance low. I just don't know if I'm going to get it. G-Man thing's down. Crack Attack says down. Shez, you would love a retest of the highs, but you think it's going down. How about it comes down and then we go to the highs? That's what I want. It's sitting right at VWAP, which is also right where that 15-minute opening range low is. Hasn't broken below that yet. It's holding. But just barely. Maverick, not enough volume and interest to take it higher? Yeah? That's possible. Volume is definitely dropping off a cliff. We've seen it often though where there'll be like a 1 hour period or 90-minute period where it just chops and kind of puts people to sleep. And then all of a sudden, we just get this huge move out of nowhere. And it wasn't even news related. Like, we don't know exactly what happened. It just went crazy. So that could be kind of what's happening too. All right, VWAP held. The bulls won the VWAP consolidation. Let's see how this 5-minute candle closes and if we actually get a closure outside or if it wicks back down. Can we close above 677 and not just get a wick? Nope. That was not a super strong close on that 5-minute candle. Not so sure about continuation up. What is our session volume profile looking like at this point? We're probably sitting right at point of control. Yeah, that's what I figured since we've been shopping in this general direction or general area. Stuck in this chop. So a lot of times when I'm trading VWAP, I find that there'll be kind of like a fake breakout. Like this candle right here kind of almost closed above VWAP. And now we're kind of like getting a little pullback. So maybe this next candle will actually like fully close above it. That happens a lot, I've noticed, where if there is going to be a breakout from VWAP, it'll kind of fake out. Like you can see it here on the 2-minute candle, 2-minute chart, where it closed above and now it's retesting and possibly could continue the move up. It's kind of what I'm thinking is happening. Still just kind of stuck in this chop zone, but as soon as we break out, if it does indeed break out to the upside like I'm talking about or thinking, I could see it coming back to the range high with some volume and momentum. Still no confirmation though. No candle closures above any of those significant levels. Well, while we're waiting for this chop to get figured out, if you guys haven't already, go hit that like button. I'd appreciate it. We got 24 of you watching, 13 likes. All right, we got 30 seconds, 20 seconds until this candle closes. If this 5-minute candle actually closes up here, then I would have a better feeling about it continuing up. Because then we would have kind of gotten outside of this chop. So if it can close up here around 680-ish, or at least above the wicks, it'll be looking good for some continuation. Gosh, you guys, still really annoyed with how I traded earlier this morning. Because my plan was right, but I managed it wrong. Definitely gonna have to go back and journal those and fix some things there. So now that we have initial balance set, this is our initial balance high. So I'm gonna wait and see how things react at this range high, if we get up there, obviously. And then see what kind of trade ideas we get. Could possibly be setting up for a failed auction up there. Again, if it gets up there, just kind of talking about scenarios if it gets there. But this gray shaded area is a high volume node, so there's quite a bit of resistance in that area. If you zoom out and look left, you can see it right here. Lots of chop in this area. So that could be a spot for resistance and a possible failed auction setup if we come up to IB high and get stuck at this area and then we close back within the initial balance. We could get a little failed auction. Bar 7B, I feel ya. I think that's why I'm not trading any of this right now, because I could have taken a trade on this breakout consolidation between VWAPs since the bulls won that battle. Totally could have been in it along, but also very frustrated with myself on mismanagement of this whole idea right here. This could have been the trade that I was sitting in right now, but I was feeling anxious and lost my confidence and moved my stop loss to break even. If I had just left it where it was originally, it would have probably gone up to hit my target. But obviously hindsight's 2020. I know, I always say that. But that's just, talking out loud, letting you guys know what's going on in my head. That's why I'm sitting out. I've gotten better at reading my emotions and knowing when I shouldn't be trading. Like if I'm feeling frustrated or annoyed or impatient or tired, like if I didn't sleep very well the night before or whatever. Those are all good reasons for me to be sitting out and checking myself, checking my thoughts. So I'll wait a little bit more, see if we hit that initial balance high and maybe take some trades from there. Yeah, you're right. At least in the market over the last couple months, Shez. Longs take a whole lot more time to work themselves out. Like this long right here, if I had just stayed in it, yeah, it would have continued to my target, perhaps. At least it looks like it at this point. But I would have had to sit through this chop from 9:05 to 9:30, so 25 minutes of chop. But longs, or shorts, if you look at this short, if you had shorted from the top, all the way back down to the bottom of the range. This whole move happened in 20 minutes. So yeah, at least recently. I mean, I don't have years of data to say it, but shorts have been happening quicker than longs have been recently. Yeah, G-Man, I don't know what's going on. I can't change my video settings right now because I'm in the stream, but I'm gonna have to troubleshoot it and figure it out. I checked my internet connection and my speed test ran really well. So something's wrong on my end. As soon as I'm done with the stream, I'll troubleshoot it and change my settings if I need to. Maverick, yes. Do you add when in profit, or do you ever plan to increase size as it comes into a level? I do. I love adding to my positions, especially if I have the ability to move my stop loss and keep my stop loss in profit or keep my risk the same. But like, for example, on this trade right here, I did add to it. So I entered, my original entry was somewhere down here, like right at VWAP. When it passed VWAP and the 15-minute opening range high, I entered, and then I added another as it passed this VWAP, which in hindsight, it never really passed it until much later. But yeah, I do add to my positions for sure. I love doing that. Be careful with it though. I wouldn't recommend doing it unless you're able to adjust your stop loss. And it's better, in my opinion, if you're add on a pullback. If you add on the breakout, then it really messes up your average position and it makes it a lot easier to keep your risk controlled. All right, heading on up towards VWAP, or sorry, not VWAP, opening initial balance high. Long in a practice account from 697. 697. That was a risky entry. I'm glad you're doing it in a practice account. If you had some sort of level you were watching, then good for you. But I would have personally felt like I was chasing it a little bit at that point. Get myself settled. See if I can get this account back green. Down 540. The good news is I'm up in my other accounts. I have my TradeDay. I did something last night. Is that bad? I'm like, I don't know. If I took a short or a long, I don't remember. So green in my TradeDay account. Gotta get this one back up. We got about 30 points, 28 points until we hit that initial balance high. Not really much resistance overhead until then. Right at that resistance level. All right, where's my initial balance, traders? Who's ready for this? Who's ready to see what we get up at initial balance high? All of my initial balance traders in the chat, what do you think? Is this going to be a breakout and trend continuation at IB high? Or are we going to reject and get a failed action? Oh, Shez is going for a rejection. That's what I'm leaning towards. I'm going to be patient and wait for a reaction. But this is already an area that I, like I said, had marked off 2 or 3 days ago. And it proved to be a good level because that's where we had that opening rejection at and moved all the way back down. So I'm confident in this level being good resistance. And then even if I'm not expecting a move like all the way back down to initial balance low, that's not what I'm thinking. But even if we just get a little pullback to like New York anchor VWAP or even like point of control, we could pull this up. Point of control is right around 659. So that would be a good trade if we take it for point of control. That's 85 points, dude. All right, I know. Don't count my chickens before they hatch. But that's what I'm looking for. Rejection at IB high, and then I'll pull back to somewhere around here, 660. 83 orders at 750. That's a perfect setup for a failed action. Come up to that 750 level, and then boom, back down. Let's see what we get. There you go, Maverick. Nice little paper trade win. Slowly inching its way up there. Good morning, Maria. How are you? I am good. Doing well, doing well. Took a couple losses on the stream this morning that I'm a little annoyed about since my idea was right. I just managed them wrong, but it's all right. Every mistake is an opportunity to learn. So at this point, just watching this come all the way back up to initial balance high and seeing if we can take a trade off of there. Kind of anticipating a possible failed auction if it like breaks out above and then closes back below. But I'm gonna be patient and wait for some confirmation on it. Because overall, my idea today was longs. I was thinking that it was going to be bullish. It's holding a lot of the support levels that I figured it would hold. So taking a short would be against the trend. All right, we're coming on up to it. What is slap in the face? What, talking about stopping me out and then going to my target? Is that what you mean? Or what? Yeah, Maria did some research to find me. Love it. Hit that subscribe button, then you'll be able to find me. That's all right, Maverick. I'm over it at this point. I think, I don't know, my mindset is that every mistake is an opportunity to learn and get better. Another way, I'm always a glass half full kind of person, so I always look at these kind of things as a positive, like try to find the positive in it. So one, I could have been more patient, definitely mismanaged the trade. But it also gives me confidence, I think, that my trade plan was correct. Like I had the right idea. So I'm not too bummed about it because I know now that if I just learn how to like manage my risk and manage my trade and all that, the trade management side of things, then my read on price action is solid. YouTube mystery. Well, I'm glad you found it. All right, 100 orders sitting up at 750. The thing with Bookmap that I've noticed is you can't see if those are buy or sell orders. So you don't necessarily know if people are like buying the breakout and it's just gonna move up, or if those are people selling and getting out of their positions and that's gonna make it go down. Sometimes too, when there's that many orders, it doesn't fully grab those orders and it like will stop right before it and go down, so those orders can serve as like resistance. But it does kind of act as a magnet when there's that many orders. It kind of pulls price in that general direction, and we don't know. It could continue or it could reject from there. But it kind of makes you believe that price is headed in that direction. Slowly, though. There ain't no hurry behind this thing. Is it ever going to make it up there? Looking at the 15-minute chart, you can see volume is just dead. Look at that. Dropped off. Boom. Everybody went to lunch early. G-Man, if we get a nice trade off the initial balance high, are you going to take it? Or are you still just watching? You've been paying attention to price action long enough. Are you going to be able to avoid that trade? I feel like if I sat and watched the charts that long, it'd be hard to like not take the trade that you've been watching play out for an hour now. I knew it. I knew you were thinking about it. You got logged into your account already, didn't you? You're ready. Yannick, no, I am not in a position, unfortunately. You can see this one right here. I was. So I didn't put the position tool here because I actually took this position 2 times before and got stopped out. My thought was it was going to bounce off of this 600 level and close back within the 15-minute initial 15-minute range. And my idea was right, but you can see these wicks down here that stopped me out. So I took a couple losses and then finally entered the right one. And at that point, my confidence was shot and I was a little bit nervous about it. So I moved my stop loss to break even. And it stopped me out for like $36. And then continued towards my target, of course. That's all right though. There's always another opportunity. At this point, I'm waiting for a retest of this initial balance high if it ever gets there. Really see what kind of reaction we get here. Oh, you need to fix your charts. Your setup was overridden. That's weird. Do you have your template saved? Like if you go up here in the top right corner, do you have templates saved? Because I wonder if maybe you're on some new chart, but you have your old template saved. I don't know. I don't know why that would happen. Oh, you did, but now it's gone. Weird. That's annoying. It takes a long time to get everything finally set up how you like it. And then it gets messed up. Like all of your settings on your indicators and the colors that you like and all that. That's annoying. Well, it hasn't quite made it up to IB high yet. Getting a little pullback before we even get there. Interesting. Point of control has shifted a little bit. It was down here at this 23,660 level. Now point of control is up here at 714. Very interesting. How many trades do you usually take a day? It depends. On average, I would say 4 to 5. And that's, to be totally honest with you guys, that's something that I'm working on, is help fixing my overtrading. There's some days where I'm like one and done, very rare. I love those kind of days where I take one trade and I'm done. I'm just reading the market well. My first trade is a win, hit my profit target, I'm done. Those days are ideal, but they don't happen a ton. I would like to keep my trades to maybe 3 or 4 a day, like max. Sometimes I get a little frustrated and I'm like trying to make up for a red day, and I'll take 6 trades, 7 trades. But that's too many. I've gotten a lot better though. A bad day for me, like a day where I take a lot of trades, is like 7 trades. When I first started, I did some like one-on-one coaching with someone for a little while, and I would share my trade log with him and like have him help me walk through some of my actual trades and setups and stuff, and like mismanagement of stop losses and stuff, but most of it was kind of the emotional side of things. And there were some days that I brought my trade log to him and I had like 18 trades, 20 trades, like I'm not even lying. It was bad. It's embarrassing to look back and see where I was at then. Or I guess if I put a positive spin on it, it's impressive to see how much I've grown and improved since then. But yeah, so now I think I'm over trading if I trade like 6 or 7 times. But that's quite an improvement from 18 to 20. So to answer your question, Yannick, I would like to keep it around 3 to 4, maybe max. Working on staying more patient and waiting for the best A+ setups that are within my rules and my strategy. I feel like there's a lot of times where I can just take a trade, but it's not in my game plan. Like for example, this one, I actually talked through it and everyone in the chat was like, oh, you should have taken it. But this gray level right here is an area of higher time frame resistance that I had marked off from days ago. And I was like, oh, it's probably going to reject here. And I kind of called it. Like, I don't like to say I can predict the market or I'm reading it perfectly or whatever. I'm not trying to say that, but I figured it was going to pull back from there. So I could have taken a short, but I didn't, because my game plan was to take longs off of the 600 level. So I'm trying to get better at actually sticking with my game plan and not flipping back and forth between longs and shorts and different strategies and all that stuff. All right. Slowly making its way back up. Shez, you still here? You ready? You getting ready for this? I know G-Man's ready. Watch, I shouldn't get too hyped. Watch, nothing happens at IB High. And it just chops around for the rest of the day and we're done. But I've been sitting here for an hour watching this thing, so something better happen. Come on. Don't leave me hanging here. Oh, getting lunch organized. Get the kids fed real quick. Because it's about to happen. Why did I enter? Where? I'm not in a trade right now, Batman. I'm waiting for it to hit this initial balance high and see if we reject and we can possibly take a failed auction from up there, or if we break out and get some trend continuation, which is not as likely in my opinion, but I could be wrong. Oh, last day of school, or first day of school starting up. That's exciting. I like when school starts back up for the kids. And not for normal reasons that you hear, like, oh, I'm so tired of my kids, I'm gonna send them back to school. Like, tag teachers, you're it. You always hear that stuff. I miss having my little buddies around. I like hanging out with them and just being able to have fun adventures over the summer. But I like when school starts back up just so I can get back to my routine. Like normal stuff like running errands and going to the grocery store and like meal prepping and things like that are so much harder when the kids are around, so much bigger of a hassle. And things like cleaning my house. We were just on the go, like playing all the time, or my kids wanted me to hang out with them. And so I was like trying to soak up all that time that I had with them over the summer, because it's definitely a blessing. But now that they're back in school, I'm like, man, I need to get caught up. Starting school back up, though, definitely makes schedules a little bit crazier. It's kind of a double-edged sword. Like, summer is nice because you can have those lazy mornings where you like hang out in your pajamas and watch TV and you have nowhere to go every once in a while. And then school starts and it's like every day is rushing, and then as soon as I pick them up from school, we have soccer practice and we have to finish homework. And then rush back home and take baths and eat dinner and go to bed. Like, that's what our days look like. So then when I'm in the midst of that, it makes me miss our lazy summers. All right, we're coming up to initial balance high. Let's see if it actually breaks IB high, maybe grabs a few stop orders or whatever, and like actually get a good rejection. And I'd be looking for a possible short here. All right, it broke IB high. Let's see if we start to get some selling pressure. Maverick, where'd you enter long? Was it down here somewhere, or you took a long on the break of IB high? $7.31. Cool. I'm gonna start scaling into this, just taking 3 contracts for now. If it starts to sell off a little bit more and we get some good confirmation that it's gonna be a failed auction and close below, then I'll add. So for now, my entry is 738. Moving to the 5-minute, looks good so far. Shez, see, that's what I'm talking about. Your entry is 748. That's like 6 points away from the high. You're good at getting those tops, man. Or bottoms, whichever direction. Maybe you're just braver than I am. $7.38 is my entry for now. I'm gonna put my stop loss a little bit above that wick. Give it a little bit of room. So far, I added to my position, so now my average is 732.6. Target, I'll probably scale out. New York anchor VWAP could be a target, and then if it continues lower, we could get out at VWAP too. Pull up our session volume profile. We do have point of control sitting at 714. So let's see if we can break below that. Value area low for the current session is actually right at VWAP at 642. So that's interesting confluence for a target. So far, so good. Let's see if it actually holds below point of control. It's kind of stalling there a little bit. Gaurav, hello. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world, or I guess good evening in some parts of the world. So zooming into the 1 minute just to kind of look at point of control. We're sitting right at point of control for the day. If we move away from that, I would feel better, because a lot of times point of control is a magnet and it'll chop around there for a little while. So a strong move below would make me feel better. You can see this, lots of volume in that area. If we break below, that could be our new resistance, and that would be nice. From there, our next high volume node in this current session is sitting around 660. That was our old point of control before it moved up here. So 660 would be a good target to scale out VWAP, and then honestly, with how heavy this is getting, possibly leave a runner down to IB low. All right, so 660 and then 643. Gonna start setting some targets to scale out a little bit. Come on. This could very well be me blinded by the fact that I'm in the short and I want the trade to continue, but I don't really see any reason for it to hold here, because it is below point of control now, which is, if it didn't support, now it's going to be resistance. So the next area I could see as possibly bouncing is this New York anchored VWAP. But again, this is getting decently heavy. This is a strong move down. $660 is where I have my first target to scale out. And that's, I know it's past VWAP, so I'm kind of questioning that a little bit, but my reasoning is looking at this volume profile. That's where the next high volume node is. And then from there, value area low is at 644, and that's where the session VWAP is too. So I need to move this up because I have it at 643. All right, gonna trim my stop loss to at least break even so I don't lose money on this trade. Yeah, Shez, good job. Hit your profit target, locked out your account. Nice, very good. And locked out of your second for max profits. You're on fire today. Good work. Amazing what can happen when you wait, right? Patience pays. That's kind of what I was worried about. Maybe should have taken my first profit target here at this New York anchored VWAP. I set it a little bit lower because of this high volume node. So let's see if it breaks below. If it is gonna bounce there, it's delayed. It's holding for now, but we're not getting any buying volume necessarily, right now at least. If it breaks here, it could go back to today's low. That's possible. I see a couple other areas of support first. We have VWAP here, which is also sitting right at today's value area low. So that's a decent spot to bounce at 645. And then, I mean, point of control at 600. I don't see it going past this level very easily. So we still have some things that'll stop us first, I think. But that was a big sell-off. Like if you zoom out to the 5-minute chart, which is what I normally trade, heavy red candles. So that's usually how I trade initial balance failed auctions, is I take profits based on price action. Because by nature, they're against the trend. So it definitely could just be a small little retrace and then trend continuation. Or it could just dump all the way back down to the other end of the range, or top end of the range if it's the reverse. So I kind of just like to see how heavy it gets. And that was decent selling pressure. But it is bouncing here. bounce. Let's see if we reject at this 700 level. Gonna trail my stop loss a little bit tighter, at least lock in some profits, because that's annoying. There you go, G-Man. Way to lock it in. All right, it's looking like that New York anchored VWAP is gonna hold. Josh, you just full ported? Full ported long or short? What'd you do? All right, Ben. Calm down, dude. Get that out of here. All right. Stopped me out. I guess we are not going to continue down. Looks like it might be heading back up towards 750s again. All right, guys. Have a good one, MX FAFO. Have a good day. Glad to hear that you're starting to gain some confidence with your trading. I think that's it for me today. I finished green in my TradeDay and Lucid accounts. Finished red in this one that I was trading on stream with you guys. Just a little bit. Down 320. Possibly we'll come back this afternoon and take another trade if it sets up nicely. But for now, I'm not seeing anything that I like. Was hoping that it would come back down a little bit lower towards my targets, but ended up bouncing at this first VWAP. So now it's going to be chopping around in the middle. If it hits the top of this range again and rejects, we could possibly take another failed auction. But for now, I've already noticed that I'm kind of feeling a little bit frustrated with my lack of trade management today. Because even on this one, it hit my trailing stop loss. I totally could have taken some of it off at least at New York anchor VWAP, and I didn't. So trade management today was not great. That's all right. Like I said, every mistake is an opportunity to learn. Thanks for joining today, guys. I appreciate having you. It's always fun trading with you guys. If you haven't already, hit that like button on the way out. I'd appreciate it. That little bit helps me grow my channel. And then if you haven't already, subscribe too. That way you can see when I go live. I will be back tomorrow trading again. Have a good one, you guys. Take care.